in Europe, we're in England, we're in France. Let me say that all of us don't look like us. You got Israelites that look like authentic Chinese people. You got Israelites that look like authentic Japanese people. You got Israelites that look like authentic white people. You got Israelites that look like Tongans and Samoans. We're everywhere. But what we do is teach the truth of the Bible, and who's ever drawn to it, those are the Israelites. The Most High said, all of his sheep hear his voice, and another they won't follow, man. His sheep hear his voice. It tells you also that the book was sealed, and in the time of the day that it will be opened, it said the wicked will continue to do wickedly, and none of the wicked would understand. But the wise, they shall understand. So we don't worry about what they look like. We worry about how they're going to follow the word of the Most High. Are they going to help us pick up the plow and go push this word? But we still teach that Christ did not die for everybody, because he didn't. That he only died for the nation of Israel, because that's all he did die for. Okay? Read on down. Verse 13.
For by one Spirit are we all baptized into one body.
Go ahead.
Whether we be Jews
hold on. Read it again.
For by one Spirit are we all baptized into one body. Whether we be Jews.
Whether we be Israelites who never departed. Go ahead.
Or Gentiles.
Or Israelites who assimilated to the other nations and then came back. Go ahead.
Whether we be bond or free.
You got Israelites during that time that were still bondage. They were literally, when it says bond, meaning they were slaves. And you had other Israelites who had Roman citizenship. Paul, for example, was a Roman citizen. And when you read the book of Acts, he gets himself out of a few legal problems by referring to himself as a Roman citizen. But then when they come back later on, he says in the book of Romans that he was what? That he was an Israelite, a Jew of the tribe of Benjamin. But in the book of Acts, he was mistaken for being an Egyptian, proving that he was black. Then he comes back and says, no, I am a Jew of Tarsus. Then you read Romans chapter 11, he comes back and refers to himself as a Gentile. He said, hold on, this knowledge ain't for the Jews only, but for us also, the Gentiles. Because he was an Israelite who was born in Tarsus of Cilicia. Matter of fact, let's go there real quick. I'm going to show you where he was born. Take the camera on over to the map. This is where Paul was born. Is the map a good angle for you? Okay. This is Cilicia, and this is Tarsus. Now I'm going to show you something. Let's go and get that about Paul, okay? We're going to go to, is that Acts chapter 23?
Acts 21.
Acts chapter 21, verse 23, something like that?
Verse 30.
Hold on. And as he was to be led into the castle, we did, don't worry about it. Yes, Acts chapter 22. We're going to go to the book of Acts, chapter 22. And, hold on. No, this is, Acts chapter 22 is where he referred to himself as a Roman. Hold on.
27.
No. Is it 27?
27 verse 31.
Okay. Hold on. No. Hold on. You said 27?
Yeah.
It's not. Let me show you something. You said 21 first, but I think that's where it is. Yeah, that's it. It was verse 21. You're going to go to Acts chapter 21, and you're going to start off at verse 37.
Okay.
Go ahead. But in Acts, but the reason I got it, because in Acts chapter 22, verse 25, it tells you where he was mistaken for another person, and he was getting ready to be beat. And he claimed to have Roman citizenship. See, but he didn't say, I got Roman citizenship. He said, I'm a Roman.
Yeah.
So we're going to use these string of scriptures to show Otis how can I put it, Israel's identity was constantly interchangeable depending on what? Where they were born at and their civil status. The languages that they spoke, they were always referred to as Israelites. They were referred to as Sicilians or Cilicians. Let's read on down. Start off with what verse now? 37?
37, yeah.
So we're at Acts chapter 21, beginning at verse 37. Go ahead.
And as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, May I speak unto thee? Who said, Canst thou speak Greek?
Yeah, in other words, Paul was being taken by a Roman captain into a castle to be what happened was Paul just got to speak and he caused a riot. So, in order to keep this thing from escalating, the captains took him and arrested him. And so Paul asked him in Greek tongue, Paul said, Can I speak to you? And the guy said, What? You can speak Greek? That's what he said. Who said no? Who said that? He didn't expect that to come from Paul. He said, You can speak Greek? Go ahead.
Verse 38. Art not thou that Egyptian?
Wait, he said, Aren't you that Egyptian? He confused Paul for an Egyptian, which proved that he was black. Go ahead. Which proved that Paul was black. Go ahead.
Which before these days made us an uproar and led us out into the wilderness, 4,000 men that were murderers.
Because you had different people that were constantly rebelling against the Roman Empire. So that person who had led a band of about 4,000 Jews, or 4,000 murderers, it said, into the wilderness, they thought this particular captain who was arresting Paul thought that person was Paul. But watch what Paul replies. Go ahead.
Verse 39. But Paul said, I am a man which am a Jew of Tarsus.
Hold on. Let's go back to the map. I need you to read that strong, brother, because I'll be standing in front of you muffling. He said, read that again.
But Paul said, I am a man which am a Jew of Tarsus.
I am a man which am a Jew of Tarsus, which is in Cilicia. And this is Israel down here. Okay? We've highlighted Paul now. Paul's, quote, pedigree. He was born in Tarsus of Cilicia. Read on down.
A city in Cilicia. A citizen of no mean city.
No, and that's not an average city. That was one of the prominent Greek provinces of the Roman Empire. Go ahead.
And I beseech thee, suffer me to speak unto the people.
Now he's talking to this captain in Greek, and he's asking permission to allow, for the captain to allow him to speak to the multitude of Israelites. Continue.
Verse 40. And when he had given him license, Paul stood on the stairs.
Listen, when it says when he had given him license, Paul stood on the stairs of where he was being led to. Go ahead.
And beckoned with the hand unto the
In other words, he was doing like this, asking the people to quiet down. Go ahead.
And when there was made a great silence,
and when the people silenced down, go ahead,
he spake unto them in the Hebrew tongue.
Then he turned around and spoke unto him in the Hebrew tongue. Because he was an Israelite that was multilingual. Alright? Now, from there, this is what we're going to do. Let's go to chapter 22, since we're already there, okay? And we're going to hit I want to make sure that read verse 24.
The chief captain commanded him to be brought into the castle.
It's still talking about Paul. Go ahead.
And bade that he should be examined by scourging.
In other words, Paul was constantly causing riots with his speech. So when they said that he should be examined by scourging, in other words, they said they wanted to have Paul questioned, but by beating. Because in other words, they didn't expect that Paul was going to tell the truth. So they was going to beat the truth out of Paul. Go ahead.
That he might know wherefore they cried so against him.
Yeah, why are people so against you, man? You have to have done something wrong to them, and they didn't expect that Paul was going to tell the truth. So they was going to have the authority, the captains beat Paul so that to assure that Paul would tell the truth, so he could stop being beat. Go ahead.
Verse 25. And as they bound him with thongs.
No, they were tying thongs as cords. Go ahead.
Paul said unto the centurion that stood by, Is it lawful for you to scourge a man that is a Roman and uncondemned?
So Paul was getting tied up. Now this is a desperate moment. Paul said, hold on. Oh, so it means it's lawful for you to beat a Roman? Now he just got through saying what? That he was a Jew from Tarsus. But now he's talking about he was a Roman. Who is this man? Is he schizophrenic? No. He was all of the above.